Good morning to all our special guests, panelists, and viewers joining us for the launch of hashtag Fight the Fraud, a campaign to fight incidents of online fraud. I would like to start by extending a very warm welcome to Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant, PVSM, AVSM, VSM, National Cyber Security Coordinator at Prime Minister's Office, Government of India. I also extend a very warm welcome to Colonel Nidhish Bhatnagar, Director School of IT, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Rashtriya Raksha University, Gujarat. I now extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Chetan Krishnaswamy, Vice President Public Policy, Amazon India, and Major Vineet Kumar, Founder and Global President, CyberPeace Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us and taking out time from your busy schedules for this launch event. Hashtag Fight the Fraud campaign brings together policy experts at CyberPeace Foundation, the NCSC, and our knowledge partners, Rashtriya Raksha University, Gujarat. This partnership aims to dial up awareness of digital fraud issues by equipping internet users with knowledge for better decision making and fraud mitigation. Further, it will be instrumental in improving and securing consumer trust. As part of this campaign, we will be organizing webinars and interactive panel discussions on topics like fraud prevention, online scams, intellectual property, consumer rights, and other relevant topics. We will also organize special events and contests to reach a wide demographic. Kicking off today's launch event by inviting Mr. Chetan Krishnaswamy, Vice President Public Policy, Amazon India, to throw some light on the issue of online fraud and scams and set the contest. Sir, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Shimoni, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to, first of all, thank Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant for being here with us today and supporting us in our efforts to promote consumer safety on online marketplaces. General Pant, who is India's National Cyber Security Coordinator at the Prime Minister's Office, is, as all of you are aware, an internationally recognized cyber security expert with more than 4 decades of distinguished service in the realm of military operations, academia, and corporate governance. His support would add tremendous value to our endeavor to combat cybercrimes in this dynamic digital landscape. I thank Colonel Nidhish Bhatnagar, Director, School of IT, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Rashtriya Raksha University, Gujarat, and Major Vineet Kumar, Founder of CyberPeace Foundation, and the respective teams for partnering with us and sharing their expertise on some of these critical issues. As all of us are aware, online scams and incidents of cybercrime are becoming a huge concern, not only in India, but also globally. Cyber criminals are attempting to exploit the growing popularity of online marketplaces and the general thrust towards, digital a digital world. Online scams and incidents is something that the government is worried about. And according to one estimate, there has been a 300% spike in cybercrime incidents of late. It's especially worrying that these numbers are set to increase, and surveys also have indicated that customers stop transacting online once they fall victim to a scam. This significantly impacts private companies who are involved in the e-commerce business, but more importantly is also a huge impediment to Prime Minister Modi's vision of building a digitally inclusive India. Cybercrime incidents adversely impact the growth of e-commerce, and especially smaller companies that don't have sufficient resources to manage these risks. Amazon has taken several steps to build consumer trust with measures to keep it safe and reliable, with measures to keep the marketplace safe and reliable. We also believe that only through solid collaboration among stakeholders that includes industry, folks, policymakers, law enforcement agencies, and consumers will we be able to resolve this complex issue and also derive key learnings and actionable feedback on this problem. Amazon is also committed to promoting and participating in campaigns which empower the consumer. And clearly, a strong, well informed, and coordinated response is the need of the hour. Today, we are thrilled and excited to announce this partnership, which hopefully is going to make a huge difference to the sort of digital landscape and the growth in this country. And more than anything else, will also protect the interests of the MSME sector as they expand their reach to international markets through various e-commerce marketplaces and digitally enabled platforms. I'd like to end by saying that this partnership brings together a diverse set of stakeholders, subject matter experts, and aims to increase awareness on the issue of online frauds. These activities are intended to encourage stakeholders to continue to, show a keen interest on these issues. And over the next weeks and months to come, there would be some extremely valuable learnings, is our hope and confidence. We're also optimistic that such consistent efforts will help dramatically reduce online frauds, scams, and cybercrime incidents. I'd like to close by thanking all the participants and Lieutenant General Pant especially. I also look forward to the rest of the proceedings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chetan sir. Thank you for highlighting the issues that the e-commerce industry is facing, particularly small and medium businesses. It was enlightening to hear about Amazon's commitment to keep the e-commerce marketplace safe and reliable for consumers. And looking forward to a successful campaign launch and the entire campaign as well. Next, I would like to request Major Vineet Kumar, founder and global president CyberPeace Foundation, to take over and share his insights into the magnitude of this issue and the mechanism that can keep consumers safe online. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Shimoni. Let me first address the dignitaries on the virtual dais who are here with us today. And our chief guest of the day, Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant. Also, the special guest, Colonel Nidhish Bhatnagar from the School of IT, AI and Cybersecurity, Rashtriya Raksha University. Mr. Chetan Krishnaswamy from Amazon India, the Vice President of Public Policy from Amazon India. It's really a pleasure to be here at the launch of the Fight the Fraud campaign. I feel this is a very good time to launch the campaign and a very relevant time to launch this campaign. Because post-pandemic, post-COVID, we have seen a surge in the number of cyber frauds that are happening, that are taking place with people, with the netizens. And it's across, it's not just tier 1 city, tier 2 city, tier 3, it's also going to the villages and smaller towns. So there are issues of cyber frauds happening. So a campaign of this kind is something that is required, and probably we can kind of bridge the gap. We can reach out to the last mile through this campaign, kind of make people aware about the prevention steps that are there. Also kind of bring up the problems that people generally face on the ground with the policymakers and others, so that the issues can be solved on the ground. So I really compliment everyone, and I'd like to especially thank General Pant, who has been there with us right from the beginning, supporting our different campaigns that we have been doing. He has been there supporting us. So this is one major campaign that we are doing, and it's indeed a great honor and privilege for us to have him here to launch that campaign. So thank you so much. Thank you, General Pant. Thank you, Colonel Nidhish Bhatnagar, and also thank you, Chetan. I think together we can create a kind of an impact for the people on the ground and create a safer and peaceful environment for everyone who is there in the cyberspace. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vineet sir, for your valuable insights into cybersecurity, their vulnerabilities, and the ways to counter them through cyber hygiene and practices. Yes, we have a lot on cards, and I would request the audience to please stay tuned for a wonderful panel discussion that is upcoming once the launch has happened by Honorable Lieutenant General Rajesh Pant. Moving on with this, I would now request Colonel Nidhish Bhatnagar, Director School of IT, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Rashtriya Raksha University, to deliver the special address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shimoni. Thanks a lot. It's indeed a privilege to be here and share the digital space with the renowned dignitaries, General Pant, General Rajesh Pant, who is the National Cybersecurity Coordinator of the Government of India. There's nobody better qualified as far as India is concerned, and maybe globally as far as cybersecurity is concerned. Mr. Chetan Krishnaswamy, we look forward to your support for this the campaign, and it's going to be really wonderful that CyberPeace Foundation and Amazon have come together for this campaign named "Fight the Fraud," which is the requirement of the day. Major Vineet Kumar, the founder of CyberPeace Foundation, who has always been at the helm of such campaigns, trying to enhance the awareness on cybersecurity, on cyber peace, both internationally as also within India. As was brought out by Major Vineet and by Mr. Chetan Krishnaswamy, the times are changing. The large scale proliferation in the cyberspace is something which has really caught up pace. Especially over the last 2 years during the COVID times, wherein the dependency on the cyberspace of all of us has really enhanced. And this has led to an enhanced threat surface. There are a huge number of cyber crimes, both cyber enabled as also cyber dependent. And more so, I think all of us who are here and all of us who have logged in and those who have not, we would all be utilizing e-commerce platforms for our various needs because of convenience as also because of availability. Now, as brought out, not all e-commerce platforms have been really assessed for their vulnerabilities, for the AI tools, the ones which are there. So those are the things which really need to be assessed. In a large number of cases, there would also be smaller companies who would be utilizing e-commerce platforms who would have issues about the robustness of those systems and service provision. Ethical use of AI for e-commerce is another thing which is a challenge which needs to really be considered, debated, and put into place. Enhanced awareness, it is the number of crimes, the way they are increasing. We really need to go in for enhanced awareness, be it through campaigns, be it through physical, digital, hybrid, whichever way, and continuous monitoring of the systems. Towards, but still, you will still have cyber crimes happening. That is the time I think there is a requirement to have a robust reporting mechanism in place, investigations, so that we can come down to a conclusion as to where it is and who are the perpetrators vis-a-vis providing succor to the victims. Cyberspace is typically a complex environment of people, hardware, software, and services, and it is pretty unique, unlike the physical space. Social media and the mobile ecosystem, while being important public communication channels, have enhanced the reach as also enhanced the vulnerabilities. So I'm sure this campaign, Fight the Fraud, is going to answer a lot of these questions which are existing today. I look forward to a successful campaign, look forward to an enhanced outreach, and I wish all organizers the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colonel Nidhish Bhatnagar, for your words of encouragement. We commend the efforts taken by the Ministry of Home Affairs, particularly the RRU, to tackle issues pertaining to the digital fraud and scams. And thank you for bringing this to our notice. We would try and do as much as possible through the campaign and reach out to the maximum audience and netizens to ensure that they are safe on all the online platforms, including the e-commerce world. Next, I would request Our chief guest, Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant, PVSM, AVSM, VSM National Cybersecurity Coordinator at Prime Minister's Office, Government of India, to deliver the keynote address. General Pant, thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shimoni, and good morning to everyone that I see on the screen in front of me and all the attendees of this event. Firstly, my compliments to the CyberPeace Foundation, Amazon, and Rashtriya Raksha University for launching this campaign, hashtag Fight the Fraud. Now, as we are all aware, the World Economic Forum has termed cybercrime as the biggest man-made risk to the economic progress of nations. And it is said that in a few years' time, the total losses globally are going to touch 10 trillion US dollars. At the national level, just yesterday itself, I have received this document from the Ministry of Home Affairs, which is titled Cyber Pravah. It gives a summary of the cybercrime that is taking place within the country. And I thought, let me just quote from the overview of the first quarter of 2022. And it says that the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, which, as you are all aware, is cybercrime.gov.in, this saw a rise of 31% in reported complaints during the first quarter of 22 compared to the fourth quarter of 21. A total of 206,153 complaints were reported during this quarter. Technological advancements and the COVID-19 pandemic have accelerated the reliance on digital platforms to perform daily and essential activities, making the users increasingly susceptible to cyber threats. The notable changes include increase in UPI fraud from 50,000 plus in Q4 to 1,13,000 in Q1 22, and increase in debit stroke credit stroke SIM swap fraud complaints from 19,000 plus to 43,000 plus in the first quarter. And similarly, the internet banking fraud complaints have also seen a rise of 14 to 15%. The cybercrime category, that is the online financial fraud, under the reporting portal is the most prevalent among others, as 66% of the total reported cybercrimes were online financial fraud. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very serious issue today. And the number of emails that I get every day from the people who have been affected is very painful actually to read. Now, the current trend I find in some of the cases is that they are saying they got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., 5 to 6 transactions have taken place from their credit card, and the shopping list has gone to Flipkart and e-commerce, all the, including Amazon, the names are there. And then he's tried to, block the card from the bank, and the bank says, I got this OTP also from this number. So there's a SIM card hijack also taking place there. So the entire ecosystem has to be addressed. Banks have to do something, the e-commerce has to do something, the networks have to do something. Out of the numbers that we give to DOT, very few of them we find have been verified. The TSPs have to do something. They have to do KYC and ensure that the SIM is issued. So the entire ecosystem has to be addressed. And I would recommend to Vineet that as he goes along with this campaign, he should consider the cases that are being reported in the I4C, the cybercrime portal, the practical cases, and then act upon them and give the advice to the attendees of this event. Having said that, I'm told the panel discussion after this is on e-entrepreneurs, the scope and vulnerabilities of the digital age. So let me share a few thoughts on this aspect. And the first thing is that the tremendous increase in online transactions has been accompanied by an equal rise in the number and type of attacks against the security of online e-commerce sites. Some of these attacks have utilized vulnerabilities that have been published in reusable third-party components utilized by the websites, such as shopping cart software, and other attacks have used vulnerabilities that are common in any web application, like your SQL injection and cross-site scripting, etc. There are a number of reasons why security vulnerabilities arise in shopping cart and online payment systems. One of the main reasons for such vulnerabilities is the fact that web application developers are often not very well versed with secure programming techniques. As a result, security of the application is not necessarily one of the design goals. This is exacerbated by the rush deadlines in the fast moving e commerce world. Even one day's delay in publishing a brand new feature on your website could allow a competitor to steal a march over you. In such a scenario, the attitude is to get the functionality online. Security can always be taken care of later. Another reasons why security vulnerabilities appear is because of the inherent complexity in most online systems. Nowadays, users are placing very demanding requirements on the e-commerce providers, and this requires complex design and programming logic. In a number of cases, e-commerce sites tout that their 128-bit SSL certificate as proof of their sites are well secured. Let me share with you that we have crossed that stage where displaying a VeriSign certificate icons can be used as proof of security. So there is a need to be careful. As far as the vulnerabilities are concerned, I mentioned there is SQL injection, there is price manipulation. Price manipulation implies that the total payable price of the purchased goods, which is stored in the hidden HTML field, that the attacker utilizes by using a web application proxy to modify the amount that is payable. That is called the price manipulation. Then there are buffer overflows, cross-site scripting, remote command execution, and weak authentication and authorization. So there are some countermeasures. Of course, the most important is to build security into the web application at the design stage itself. There are various standards. There is a new NIST standards which has come out for the SecDevOps, and I'm sure the people would be aware of this. What would be the impact of business? And I like what Chetan said, that there is this leads to loss of trust, and it is an independent to our digital India and to our e-commerce, etc. It should not happen. We don't want that to happen. In addition, this a breach, attack leads to loss of IP. So loss of intellectual IP is there. There is disruption of operations, theft of data. There is impact of funding. So a lot of impact on business takes place because of all these attacks. So with this as a backdrop, I'm sure you will have an engaging panel discussion on some of the aspects I have highlighted. Let me once again compliment the trio who have organized this on a very important and a very current, very timely campaign. I am always there. I'm paid to ensure that information security, education, and awareness is spread to as many people as possible, which is why I always join these forums. And once again, my compliments to the organizers, and I wish the event all success. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. It is always such an honor to listen to when you talk, and so much information that you just shared. On one hand, it is really alarming, and on the other hand, it does give us a target to achieve in the future with this campaign. Thank you so much for your kind words. If I may request you to give a go ahead, if you can play the video, sir.
Please, with both thumbs up.
Thank you. Thank you so much, team. I would just like to thank our Honorable Chief Guest, General Pant, for joining us. and Mr. Chetan Krishnaswamy for joining us. Thank you so much for launching the campaign. I would request Colonel Bhatnagar to please stay back for the panel discussion. And moving on, we hope all viewers have some interesting takeaways from today's interaction. Let us all come together to keep up the momentum to hashtag fight the fraud and make online spaces safe for all. Thank you all. Stay cyber safe and stay cyber secure. Over to you for the panel discussion, Abhishek.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, ma'am. And a very good afternoon to all the viewers and panelists present here. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the panelists and experts to the panel discussion on enhancing customer trust through collaborations. The digital economy holds the key to strengthening our economy and support startups, entrepreneurs, and small businesses. Today's panel discussion will be instrumental to our understanding of cybersecurity measures currently in place and efforts we can put in to work towards a safe digital market for our consumers. The rising incidence of online frauds and scams cannot be ignored, and we hope to deliberate on this issue in today's panel discussion and hear from the diverse stakeholders. I would like to kick off today's discussion by introducing our honorable panelist, Dr. Gaurav Gupta, Additional Director, Scientist E-Cyber Law and E-Security, Ministry of Information Technology, Government of India. Mr. KPS Malhotra, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Cybercrime, Delhi Police. Colonel Nitish Bhatnagar, Director, School of IT, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Rashtra Raksha University, Gujarat. Mr. Sumit Sahai, Director, Selling Partner Services, Amazon, India. Major Vineet, and lastly, Major Vineet Kumar, Global President and Founder, CyberPeace Foundation. Starting off with the discussion with some opening remarks from Dr. Gaurav Gupta, Additional Director, Scientist, Cyber Law and E-Security MeitY, Government of India, to give us an overview of the government's efforts to address the cybersecurity issues.
Thank you. So, as we have seen in the opening keynote by General Pant, where he has highlighted that this is a very, very big problem, and a lot has to be done by all the stakeholders, including government. And as he rightly pointed out, government has taken a lot of steps. We have the cybercrime reporting portal where you can today, file a complaint sitting at your home. You don't have to go to a police station, and your complaint can be lodged. And in most of the e-commerce related fraud, there is the issue of money which is taken away by criminals of the innocent users. So there also, I think, Ministry of Home Affairs has come out with 1930 helpline number where you can immediately report any financial fraud which has happened, including on a e-commerce website or a transaction. And there the money can be stopped where it is if you report in a timely manner, so that later after investigation the money can be returned. So these are some of the very, very important steps which can actually help the users who are the innocent users who have been taken for a ride by the cyber criminals. Apart from that, I think what is required is awareness, because all these crimes are having a particular modus operandi, and if the modus operandi of these popular crimes which are happening through e-commerce platform and in social media and on using technology like internet and digital technology, if we make the users aware about how criminals are going to do these frauds, that is something which is very, very effective. We need to highlight what are the red flags in any of the fraudulent transaction, so that if any of the red flag is detected and identified by a criminal, he or she will not go ahead with the transaction, and that would be the easiest way to mitigate and cut down on number of frauds. So this is also something which is very, very important. Then we need to proactively find out these modus operandis. We need to then probably make suitable changes in the technology. Suitable changes probably will also follow suitable changes in the law, so that the complete ecosystem of digital technology which is enabling the growth of e-commerce platform will be very, very useful for the public at large and the society. So this is something which I thought I will highlight. In this connection, I have also written a book, Cyber Unsafe, which is, I think, listed on Amazon platform itself, where a lot of modus operandi of the cyber criminals have been described, And this is one step in terms of making users aware how to avoid such kind of crimes. So with this, I would like to now let other panelists speak before we can again discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting out the government's policies to tackle online frauds and scams. Next, I would request Colonel Nitish Bhatnagar, Director, School of IT, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Rashtriya Raksha University, who is an expert in this space and well placed to take us through some of the key issues.
Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek, and thank you, my co-panelists. I'm indeed privileged to be sharing space with you. And Dr. Gaurav, I've read your book. So I'd rather have a copy of it somewhere here. Yeah, it's right here. It's right here with me. So, and it really brings out a lot of things. Having said that, the campaign, which is Fight the Fraud, and it is extremely essential, more so in times of today and times which are yet to come, because the proliferation of cyber is really not going to stop. It's just going to enhance. And you will have right now, even every person has an aspiration for a smartphone. Every person consumes data. Every person, because of government policies, every person has got a bank account, which is typically enabled for e-transactions. So that is what the environment is. Now, the number of frauds which are taking place, which are reported frauds, and I'm so sure there will be a larger number of unreported frauds and cyber crimes which are there. Be it phishing, and then we had vishing, and you had credit card frauds, you had so many other things which were there. And most of these cyber crimes, or I would say cyber enabled crimes, are extremely well, it touches an individual. And it's not only there, there's also a lot of theft, harassment, child exploitation, so many things are there. Now, more so in today's environment wherein e-com has really proliferated. Every one of us utilizes the e-com platforms. We order food from various Swiggies and Zomatos and so on. We utilize the cab aggregators. So that is there. And even what was previously a neighborhood shop would also like to have something, will set up a portal and say, listen, you can just log in out over here and I will get your order delivered. So that Kirane ki dukan also has an element of e-commerce which he has attempted to build it, and why not, right? Now the problem here is that all these things, especially when there are when there's financial transactions, the systems need to be much more robust. The systems need to be more robust. The service which is being provided needs to be secure, and all those things. Nowadays, there is the problem is that vulnerability assessment of most of these portals, especially the smaller ones, is not being done. And I'm so sure there would be others also. There is, when you look at exploits which are generally reported, there would be vulnerabilities which would come up on other portals which are more larger in size and in the numbers. Now, also at the same time, there is, which I keep talking about, is artificial intelligence and ethics of the matter. There is a requirement of transparency when there is e-com happening. There's the amount of data which is being consumed, which is being recorded, which is being taken and stored is humongous. And whether that data is being utilized with consent or without consent, and whether people actually read that small thing and say, you click a button which says I agree, is another thing which is there. So ethical use of AI for e-com is definitely a requirement. Enhanced awareness. The biggest issue is everybody feels कि मेरे साथ नहीं होगा, or maybe it will not affect me. But all of us have received those phishing SMSs. those QR codes which say, okay, you scan it and we'll transfer the money into your account, but it doesn't happen. And people actually, despite telling people, it's still, you still find a huge number of cases which are there. There is a requirement of continuous monitoring. The modus operandi of criminals keeps changing. There is a requirement of continuous monitoring as to what next, what will they try next, so that that is built in into the awareness campaigns which are there. The government of India has got a fantastic reporting mechanism, be it through various ministries or the national commissions, and which actually have a closed loop wherein a complaint once reported will go through that loop and it will not be closed, which is a very robust reporting mechanism which has got helplines, it has got web portals and so on. And this allows for the cyber investigating agencies to carry out in-depth investigation. But notwithstanding all of this, I personally feel that this particular campaign of Fight the Fraud is extremely essential. It needs to be driven down to the last individual. That last individual needs to be made aware. And I really compliment CyberPeace Foundation and Amazon to be steering this particular initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts and inputs on users' safety online. These valuable inputs will give us a deeper understanding of the cybersecurity issues ahead. Now, I would like to invite Major Vineet Kumar, Global President and Founder, CyberPeace Foundation, to share his insights into the different type of frauds and scams consumers may encounter over the online space.
Thank you, Abhishek, and pleasure to be a part of this eminent panel. Thanks to all the panelists who are here today and are sharing their views. That's a very good question, Abhishek. And with CyberPeace Foundation, as we are a grassroots NGO, through various campaigns, through various awareness drives that we are doing, we see a lot of challenges on the ground. And the challenges with the people, those who are there, the netizens who are there, challenges with the law enforcement agencies also. Challenges, I'll come first about the challenges with the netizens. There are a lot of crimes which are targeting basically wishing related crimes, phishing related crimes. Colonel Bhatnagar had clearly highlighted those crimes that are happening, but some of the crimes that we have seen during COVID times is making use of different platforms. And here I would say even the end-to-end platforms were kind of utilized, wherein certain links, certain flashy offers, like you get 90% off on Amazon or 90% off on Flipkart, and here's a link to join the group. People clicked on that link and their entire, it's not just the platform, but their entire digital device, their phone got compromised, their tablets got compromised, even their computers got compromised with a kind of a malware. So that's something sensitive for us that I see, and we have published several reports which are there on our website and would be happy to share offline with everyone. So what scares me is majority of the people are coming from tier 3 cities and smaller towns and villages. And for them, getting access to these links are easy. I mean, through these WhatsApp and different kinds of platforms that are there, they get different links, click on this link, and then eventually they lose money and they start losing the trust in the platform. So that's something that is concerning for us. And via this campaign, again, but that's one major aim, is to empower the vulnerable population so that they use technology effectively. They implement the right kind of controls, like how do you safeguard? How do you safeguard the platform? How do you safeguard your digital devices? We will talk about different kind of controls that could be there, implementation of encryption, implementation of two-factor authentication, and several other stuffs that are there. So we are going to talk about this. We are going to talk about this to the end user, because on the ground, I feel prevention is the best solution. Investigation is time taking. Investigation, and sometimes it is very cumbersome. And for the law enforcement agencies, I've seen on an average, if there is a crime that is being conducted from a foreign land, it takes on an average around 5 to 6 months for them to get a data from a foreign territory, going through the MLAT process. So that's something which I see as a big problem. Cyber cells today are flooded with cases. And this is my interaction with, again, various cybercrime cells. We do capacity building program for them. They are flooded with cases. As of now, majority of the cyber cells are accepting cases over 1 lakh rupees. That is the kind of cases that they accept, high value cases and all that. Imagine if they start accepting cases of, say, low value, say 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees. I feel they are going to be flooded, and it would be a big challenge for them to kind of investigate every such crime. So that's something, and why prevention we need to focus much more. We need to reach out to the netizens, is basically so that what the more they are aware, we'll be able to safeguard them from any kind of crimes that are happening, plus any new kind of crime. Again, I'll cite the same thing that Dr. Gaurav also mentioned, and Dr. Colonel Bhatnagar also mentioned about basically the innovation. So even the fraudsters are innovating themselves on a regular basis. We might kind of have some prevention for a particular crime, but at the next moment you'll see that they have kind of innovated, and now they're targeting people through a different form, through a different platform, through a different technique. So all of that is coming up, and we, in fact, at CyberPeace Foundation are also making a complete repository and trying to work with the National Crime Records Bureau to kind of set up a kind of information sharing center wherein all these cases and MO gets collated on one place, and then we disseminate advisories through that platform. So this is a work in progress. Hopefully, this is something that may benefit the ordinary netizens and even the law enforcement agencies when we have the proper info sharing on different kind of cybercrime that is happening. Third piece that I'd like to share here is about our helpline. Now, CyberPeace helpline was set up long back, but we have not publicized the number anywhere. And by word of mouth, this number is being spread across different places, not just one state, but across multiple states in India and also abroad now. We have been getting calls from different countries. The individuals are requesting us to kind of assist them in case of a financial fraud or a cyber fraud happening or a cyber scam happening. The reason being that some of the majority of the cases are unreported. Individuals, they don't report the cases, they don't want to interface the police, and they want help unofficially. So we are flooded with those unofficial requests there where they say that we don't want to interface the police, please help us in kind of getting this particular case solved, getting my money back and all that. So that's where, in fact, we at CyberPeace Foundation, again through the helpline team is small, we are just team of 5 who are working, but they're working almost 24/7 now. But we are flooded with cases, and I feel there's something that we need to do. And again, with Ministry of Home Affairs and also Amazon, I think Fight the Fraud is an important campaign to spread a word about different kind of activities that could be done and different kind of reporting platforms that are available. For example, the 1930 of Ministry of Home Affairs is one, I would say, one point where victims can immediately reach out. But major through the campaign, wherever we had gone, we have seen that victims are unaware that something like 1930 exists. Something like cybercrime.gov exist. Something like reporting on, say, platform for consumer reporting exist. Like Jago Grahak Jago, there is a reporting platform there also. There's a reporting at the National Commission for Women, and also reporting at the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. So there are different reporting mechanisms that exist for different kind of cases related to cybercrime. But as end user, we are not aware. So this is what probably we need to do, and I strongly feel that awareness is the key. I'll not touch upon about different platforms that are there and the kind of practices that they need to follow, Abhishek, because General Pant has clearly mentioned that what is the vulnerability that we see in the platform and what we need to do. My concern here is basically the unicorns who are coming up, who are again kind of spreading like anything, but security is something that they are missing out. So security has to be integrated into the system, and all the vulnerabilities that General Pant highlighted, even the vulnerabilities which are still in the form of 0 days, is something that we need to kind of see, kind of learn and patch our network so that we are aware from any kind of, we are safe from any kind of cyber attacks that happen, and our users are also safe on the platforms that exist. Thank you so much, Abhishek.
Thank you so much for your valuable insight, sir. And I'm sure our viewers would understand very deeply from the takeaway that prevention is better than cure, whether it's a cyber attack or whether it's a physical attack. And now I would request Mr. Sumit Sahai Director Selling Partner Services, Amazon India, to share his perspective on Amazon's efforts to keep consumers safe from online frauds and scams.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's been enriching to really learn about experiences and perspectives on tackling digital fraud and counterfeit from both the institutions and experts who are at the front line of solving for this issue. So I would like to really thank CyberPeace Foundation for putting together an important event like this. It helps us understand the key challenges here and look for solutions that will help us to solve for this large scale issue. Digital frauds today pose a serious danger to our society, even more so than they ever have. Today, the menace of digital fraud and counterfeiting not only represents a loss to brands and economy, but also pose a serious risk to public health and safety. We've seen some of this play out during the pandemic period, where counterfeit items getting sold might have led to issues for consumers who were looking at those for medical reasons. India is also a very fast growing e-commerce market, and it is expected to surpass the US in, experts say, 2034 to become the largest e-commerce market in the world. However, for us to make that journey, the prevalence of digital fraud and counterfeits are an undermining aspect, and we need to really work towards solving for these and remove the roadblocks from this market growing safely and scaling in a way that there is customers feel both safe and secure in transacting here. So Amazon, on its part, is committed to promoting and taking part in effort to ensure that the customers are empowered to take advantage of the opportunities in front of them, while also getting adequately protected from risks that the digital era presents. Um, it is also our goal to ensure that when customers shop on Amazon, they are having the safest and most seamless shopping experience. And they are choosing from the widest collection possible of authentic and safe products. By providing tremendous choice, convenience, and value to customers, Amazon also provides unprecedented opportunities for businesses. However, with scale comes responsibility because there are millions of customers and selling partners and billions of daily product listings. Amazon, unfortunately, also becomes an attractive target for criminals and bad actors who attempt to dupe customers on the online marketplace. In order to prevent the sale of counterfeit products, we take a four-step approach. One of them, the most important and key one that we believe is the best place to stop this, is the prevention phase. So our first step is prevention. We regularly institute structural product changes to disincentivize bad behavior from sellers and customers. Then if prevention fails, then we work on removal. So we again take very proactive measures to take down the counterfeit listings from our marketplace, so that customers only have a pool of authentic products to choose from. Also, apart from this, we work on the reduction space, where we contribute to reducing the movement of counterfeit goods by collaborating with governments and other relevant stakeholders to hold bad actors really accountable for fraud and abuse that they might be perpetuating. We are working towards becoming a thought leader on securing our borders against counterfeits and unsafe products. And we are also continuously working with brands and sellers to better protect their IPs as well. Our final step in this journey is information. So we are currently in the process of also building collaterals to educate policymakers, law enforcement agencies on our efforts around customer trust and to suggest best practices required to effectively tackle this menace. We are also looking to impart some of our learnings by creating consumer education and mass campaigns on the areas such as consumer protection, duplicates, deceptive branding, misappropriate advertisements, and post-sale services that customers could get. As we move further in the discussion, I'll be happy to share some of our specific initiatives and the kind of outcomes that we've gotten from these initiatives. So thank you, Abhishek. Back to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for providing your deep and critical insights. Now, taking the panel discussion forward, I would like to open the floor for questions to our panelists. First question for Dr. Gaurav Gupta Additional Director Scientist, Cyber Law and E-Security, MeitY, Government of India. Sir, we would like to ask you, how are the concerned authorities working towards securing the e-commerce platform amidst the rise of cyber crimes and frauds? And secondly, in the startup boom of India, how are the budding entrepreneurs strengthened and safeguarded in the new digital market spectrum in order to ensure the growth of a lasting digital economy?
So, when the crimes are happening, Government of India has Information Technology Act. Information Technology Act has various provisions where, for example, sensitive private information needs to be secured. You have to have reasonable, security practices which each of the service provider has to deploy so that, the bare minimum things are there so that it's not very easy for fraudsters to do fraud, right? So if you adhere to the guidelines as laid out in Information Technology Act and the rules therein, it provides you a framework to provide you reasonable security. Then on top of it, as discussed, that use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect counterfeiting. So there are solutions. There are research-based solutions where to detect a counterfeit product, image processing-based solutions has been developed. So if you give me a image of a Lakme Kajal pencil, and I can actually run some of the tests only by the high resolution image of the product to find out whether the product is counterfeit or not counterfeit. So this is a big opportunity for startups and the new entrepreneurs where they can now come out with interesting and innovative solutions to detect counterfeit products, to detect things in a non-invasive manner. Because today the state of the art may not be where I can detect counterfeit products only by image, because we need to do much more than that, right? So can we develop interesting, cost-effective, innovative solutions which can stop counterfeiting, which can detect fraud before they can happen? And that is the opportunity which exists for budding entrepreneurs and the researchers in this domain. So this is a very lucrative area. There are all the frauds which are happening, they are basically the problem statements. They are the opportunities for entrepreneurs to take them up and solve those problems using the new technology, using data mining, because we have a lot of data about products today available. It's like the analytics which we run in the credit card frauds. Let's say if you are swiping a single card from two different physical locations which are far apart, fraud analytics detects it and it says that this is a fraudulent transaction. Same kind of thing can we do for products? Can we do it for users doing transactions? So all these things are according to me, the very very big opportunity for entrepreneurs and researchers and startup founders.
Very rightly said, sir. The true spirit of entrepreneurism actually lies in finding out an opportunity within the issue itself. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to ask Colonel Nitish Bhatnagar, the Director, School of IT, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, Rashtriya Raksha University. So, how will the IT and AI tools be beneficial in improving and maintaining customer trust while reducing human error, and how vulnerable these present AI tools can be?
So that's a great question, and I think partially that has been answered by Dr. Gaurav Gupta. So there are two things as far as IT and AI are concerned. One is just providing a platform, and that platform in itself needs to be secure. And as was brought out by General Pant, just a very sign logo and a 128-bit encryption may not really meet the needs of or the requirements of the day in terms of security which are concerned. And Dr. Gaurav also brought out about some start small, and which is very essential. I mean, there is a case in point to develop maybe something as simple as browser extensions or add-ons, which allow which kind of alert the user that maybe the site which is there, it is a fraudulent site. Instead of ICICI, it is LCICI. So, and it could be powered with not too much of an AI code behind it. I mean, it's something which is not very difficult to do. So these are things which can be enhanced. More so, is that as far as the trust is concerned, as far as the consumer's trust is concerned, there's a huge amount of information which is captured, be it through his or her data information, and maybe even ads, which allow the ads to be captured, and through the positional information, it is all available to the marketing person for to carry out his analytics and to come out with what is the requirement for an individual. As far as it is done for the correct purpose, for in our ethics are maintained, consent is taken. I don't think there's any issue, especially as per the laws of the land in which region of the world they are being tackled. But in a larger domain, there is a requirement to ensure that this data in itself is secure, which so a lot of people are very they feel very unsafe when five things are required. When five things are required and asked, and you're putting in that information and where it is. So maybe there is a requirement of firstly getting IT and AI to be secure, to be utilized in the correct manner. Second is to be more ethical, uh, because nowadays with the proliferation of AI or proliferation of cyber, especially with COVID, the pandemic has accelerated the business uptake of AI technology. And unfortunately, without consumer confidence that AI is being used ethically and transparently, its full potential will not be realized. And companies need to start putting systems and procedures in place to earn their trust without delay. I hope I've answered.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is for Major Vineet Kumar, Global President and Founder, CyberPeace Foundation. So, what initiatives are undertaken by CyberPeace Foundation in order to spread awareness regarding customer trust and cyber hygiene on e-commerce platforms? And how can individuals, as entrepreneurs, as individuals, safeguard themselves from the grassroots level on e-commerce platforms?
Thanks, Abhishek. Firstly, I'd like to make a mention of a handbook that we released in 2020. This was a handbook on cybersecurity for startups and SMEs, and this was actually released by Honorable National Cyber Coordinator, Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant. So he only had released it, and that's something that I would like to recommend to all these startups and SMEs to make use of. Well, that is basically like a 101 on cybersecurity and the steps that you need to follow. That's number one. Secondly, when I talk about end users, how do we keep end users safe? So the kind of mode that CyberPeace Foundation follows, and through various initiatives and campaigns that we run, we basically don't believe in just do's and don'ts, because do's and don'ts people tend to kind of ignore. So what we do is making people aware of the activity about say safety via some activities. Like one of the major activity that we run is something called as e-Raksha. This is with Ministry of Education, and the whole idea is to engage the children, young adults, even educators who come from different universities, counselors and all that, even parents. All of us, all of them can come together on the platform, and there we have a series of competition. Like we have a video competition, we have a blog writing competition, we have a jingle competition, painting competition. So there are plenty of competition that happens. We also have a track called as a safety track, secure coding track, when even the students, especially this is for the university students and even children, those who are techies, can actually code a solution to an existing problem that is there. So that's where we kind of see that the entire process should be engaging rather than pushing that information. And e-Raksha is one such competition. We have another competition called as the Global Cyber Peace Challenge, where we have actually different tracks. We have a strategy track for basically the diplomats and policymakers, for them to understand what safety means for them and how should they be kind of involved in the process of diplomacy, safety, security, and all that, and what kind of right policies and procedures needs to be brought in to make the environment safer. We have a live kind of hacking competition, you can say, where we have red teams, blue teams, and they both compete among themselves. And the third track is a hackathon. So that's basically to do with activities when it comes to basically securing yourself and understanding the subject in a simple manner, in a fun manner, basically. So that's one of the initiatives. Then we have campaigns such as the Digital Shakti that we run with the National Commission for Women, and Meta is also one of the partner. This is one of the world's biggest initiative to empower netizens in the cyberspace. So far, it's basically in the phase 3, and we have trained close to around 4 lakh women under that initiative on safety, and trying to get more and more women into the cybersecurity space to the Digital Shakti initiative. So some of the initiatives that we run, I will also like to mention about the project eSaksham that we run with the All India Council for Technical Education. Here we are kind of training around 5,500,000 youths and educator on cybersecurity, and also opening clubs, basically cyber clubs, which can be taken as a platform where students, even educators, can disseminate a lot of information related to cyber security and cyber hygiene in the environment and also in the community. So these are basically few activities that we do. One major thing that we kind of push through our campaign is, if technology is posing us as a challenge, then technology only can give us the solution. So that is what we try to make an attempt. We don't scare people. That there are issues. Yes, we talk about issues, but the entire intention is not to scare people. It is to kind of make them aware that this is how things can happen, things can go wrong with you. But then you should also look at the brighter side, which is much more. Technology is a big enabler, which probably all of us would admit here. I'm sure the panelists will also admit here. But only thing is, we need to learn basically how to drive safe on the road. That's what we have to kind of impart among the general people. And I'm sure we'll be safe if we follow a majority of the stuff that we are going to discuss in the campaign, or maybe whatever the panelists have said today. If we follow that, 99% of the attacks, we are going to be safe from those kind of attacks. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you so much for sharing this input with us, sir. And I'm sure the projects by CyberPeace Foundation will be landmark initiatives against the fight against cybercrime and cyber frauds. Next, I would request Mr. Sumit Sai, Director, Selling Partner Services, Amazon India. So, what policies or protocols are in place to keep the e-commerce platform safe from cyber frauds and criminals? And sir, how Amazon is empowering consumers and brands to protect their rights?
Thanks, Abhishek. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that this is very good learning from everyone on the panel here. It's also very heartening to see that there are so many programs and resources getting deployed on making general consumers aware of what the threats there could be, as well as around what other recourses that they have to make sure that they are able to use technology, but at the same time, they are able to keep themselves safe while they enjoy the fruits of technology. I didn't know of many of these initiatives that were spoken of by the panelists here. And to me personally, it was really heartening to witness that. So, just speaking on our own approach, so how do we give our customers the Amazon assurance that each product that they choose and purchase is authentic and safe on the marketplace? So Amazon, via its various initiatives, puts in enormous resources in delivering on its tenets and to make its marketplace a reliable and safe platform for customers, brands, as well as sellers to conduct transactions. Broadly, if I were to capture that on two heads, so one of them is around investing in automated systems to detect instances of fraud. Amazon invests very heavily in machine learning and other systems to proactively detect and remove suspect listings. We employ dedicated teams of software engineers, applied scientists, program managers, and also investigators to operate and continually refine our anti counterfeiting programs. Amazon systems automatically and continuously scan numerous data points related to selling partners, products, brands, and offers to detect any activity that may indicate a potentially counterfeit product. And then once this is identified, then this is immediately blocked or removed from a marketplace. Just to give a data point, in 2020, for instance, we had invested over $70 million globally, And we had more than 10,000 employees worldwide who are working to protect our marketplace from fraud and abuse. The other aspect is also to empower brands and consumers directly to protect their rights. So we work with brands, the key brands and sellers, through programs which are like brand registry. There is a program called Transparency and another program called Project Zero to ensure that only authentic products are sold on a marketplace. With Transparency, for instance, we work with brands on a serialization project where they indicate and specifically put certain serial numbers on the products that they are manufacturing authentically. And this list is provided to us at the marketplace. So whenever this good is getting inbounded into any of Amazon's fulfillment centers, there is a check to try and figure out that this is coming from that list that was provided to us. In case that serial number is not present or is fraudulently mentioned, then we don't even allow these goods to get into the fulfillment centers and we reject the shipment outright. Similarly, we investigate any claim of counterfeiting very thoroughly, including removing the item, permanently removing the bad actor who's brought this item onto the marketplace, and also pursuing legal actions as and when appropriate. Amazon also has robust mechanisms in place for enabling rights owners to file notices of infringement. Once a notice of infringement is received, a very dedicated team of investigators evaluates the claim and takes appropriate action around that too. Amazon has employees around the world who are able to investigate reports of counterfeits. If a notice is determined to be valid, Amazon's actions may include removing the product for sale or similar actions that address the specific infringement, terminating the seller's account or related accounts, withholding funds, destroying inauthentic inventory, pursuing civil litigation, and working with law enforcement to support a criminal prosecution as well. However, if a bad actor is able to evade Amazon's detection mechanisms and sell counterfeit products, Amazon makes it easy for customers to report these concerns and ensures that any customer who purchases a counterfeit product is able to receive a refund quickly as well. So at a broad level, these are the mechanisms that we use to keep our brands, sellers, as well as consumers as safe as we possibly can by deploying a lot of machine learning algorithms, resources behind that too, and trying to get the right outcomes for all stakeholders.
Thank you so much, sir. This had been very interesting for our viewers to know about the initiatives and the steps by one of the largest e-commerce platforms against the fight in cyber crimes and cyber frauds. The panel discussion was very informative, and the perspectives from diverse stakeholders are sure to inform policy measures to address online frauds and scams. I would like to extend a sincere thanks to all the panelists. Dr. Gaurav Gupta, Additional Director Scientist, Cyber Law and E-Security, MeitY, Government of India.
So I'd like to thank basically all the eminent panelists, starting with Dr. Gaurav Gupta, also Dr. Nidish Bhatnagar, Colonel Nidish Bhatnagar, and also our representative from Amazon who is here. So we'd like to kind of extend very thanks to Mr. Sumit Sahai also for your views. I am sure these all views will be taken up, and at the end, what we'll do is we'll prepare a kind of a consolidated report about certain things that should be done, and we are going to disseminate that. This also clearly marks the beginning of the campaign Fight the Fraud. So I'm sure with all your support, we are going to make it very big, and we'll try our best to reach the last mile so that the cyberspace is made safer for those who are there, even the netizens and all the people who are there. We'll try to create a safer environment for everyone, a peaceful environment for everyone through the campaign. So thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time. And it was really a pleasure to have you here in the panel discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Excellent.